Hey, what's up, guys? This is Steve. Welcome to Slurve. Going to be talking about some cash game cornerstones for your MLB games for tonight's slate. It's June 30th, and I'm pretty sure it's Thursday. So let's take a look at some things here. First off, at catcher, got a couple of places that I think we can go. One of which is Jose Lobaton against Brandon Finnegan. It could be Wilson Ramos in the lineup, so make sure you check on that. But usually Lobaton catches for Gio. So I think that he's a great way to save some money since he's only 2.2 on DK and 2.2 on FanDuel. Also likely to be popular, although the matchup is not ideal, is Wilson Contreras. He's been kind of on fire since breaking into the league. Has been very popular in cash games. Get Steven Matz. Not ideal. Kind of be interesting to see how he does in that matchup. But he's priced down a little bit from where he has been. 3.6 on DK, 3.1 on FanDuel. Both make for some pretty nice catcher options. I'm going to be coming back to Washington more than a couple times in this. I like Ryan Zimmerman against Finnegan at first base, too. Finnegan's not a great pitcher. This game has the highest total on the slate. Well, not the highest total. Washington has the highest team total on the slate right now. Things are moving their direction line-wise. They had a big game last night. I would expect them to be very popular tonight on a kind of short slate. And also just, nice matchup there. So 4.5 on DK is kind of pricey for Ryan Zimmerman. 3.3 on FanDuel is very reasonable, though. On DK, I have no problem if you want to instead go with Miggy against Odo Rizzi for 4.2 on DK and 3.6 on FanDuel. So he's a little cheaper on DK, a little more expensive on FanDuel. Go figure. Oh, man, Seattle let me down so hard last night. Anyway, I'm going back to that a little bit. Robinson Cano, I think, is still a great play today against Chris Tillman. He has a stellar BVP record that's pretty, like 25 at bats, something, against Tillman. He's 4.1 on DK and 4.1 on FanDuel. A little pricier on FanDuel, obviously, but, it's still just a cheap price for a guy with Robinson Cano's talent. And then we also got Derek Dietrich, who on DK is only 400 less. On FanDuel, he's 2,900, so it's like 1,200 less. It's much more of a bargain that I'm looking for there. But if he's leading off, then I don't mind him on either side. And he's got a nice matchup against Folty, who's coming back from injury and not that great, and I think on a pitch count anyway. So, especially on FanDuel, he makes for a nice kind of cheap second base play. I mentioned I'd be hanging around the Washington game. It's no different at third base. I love Anthony Rendon today. 3.9 on DK and 3.2 on FanDuel. It's just really cheap for him. I don't know what's going on there, but I like him in this matchup against Finnegan. And then Kyle Seager, I'm giving him some love too. He actually was one of the Mariners that didn't completely let me down last night, so he gets a matchup with Tillman, which is not ideal, but not terrible. But 3.6 on both sites is a perfectly reasonable price to pay for him in that matchup. But especially on FanDuel, where Rendon is only 3.2, but also on DK, I think he's my strong preference. Sad news today. Manny Machado is not listed at shortstop on FanDuel. I don't know what happened. Maybe he played third for a couple games or something. But there it is. But I do like him on DK. I don't mind him on FanDuel so much either, but I like him on DK. He's 4.7. Definitely a premium option, but comes with premium potential. Love the Orioles in general. Taiwan has been kind of blow-up prone this season, so it would not shock me to see that happen again. But then we also got Javier Baez, who's kind of been doing really well. Had a grand slam the other night, even if it took 15 innings, and really frustrated me. Matt's not the exact best matchup either, but 3.5 on DK, 2.9 on FanDuel. He's definitely an option worth considering. And then on FanDuel, and specifically not on DraftKings, I think Aledmys Diaz deserves some consideration against Chris Young, who's not good at all. But Aledmys is 5.3 on DK, which is just like laughable. I'm laughing. It's that bad. But he's 3.8 on FanDuel. So I think he's very playable there. And, you know, if he's second in the lineup, I think he's a great option at that price. 5.3, come on. Last guy I'll mention from Washington, I promise. Of course, we are at the last position, but hey. It's Jason Worth in the outfield. 4.2 on DK, 4.0 on FanDuel. Nice matchup there. I expect them to score a lot of runs today, and I want part of that. Then I also like Christian Yelich. I already mentioned Fulte and his struggles and returning from injury and potentially being on a low pitch count anyway. So Yelich at 4.3 on DK and especially at 3.7 on FanDuel is a great option. There's also Steven Moya, who's been doing great things for me anyway when I play him. He had a home run, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. He gets Odo Rizzi, 2.6 on DK, 3.0 on FanDuel. Definitely a guy that you want to target on DK with those prices much more than on FanDuel. But luckily, FanDuel's given us another bargain, assuming he's over his illness from yesterday, which I gather was just a cold, flu kind of thing. Oswaldo Arcia against Zimmerman. And Arcia is 3.5 on DK. I don't hate him at that price either, but he's 2.5 on FanDuel. So it's a really nice bargain there. And last but not least, we get a real discount, I feel, on Mark Trumbo against Taijuan Walker. I don't know if it's deserved in that pitching matchup. The ballpark's not exactly ideal in Seattle, but it's not terrible. And when Mark Trumbo hits a home run, there's usually no question about it. It's not like he's a guy that's right at the fence all the time. He's 3.7 on DK and 3.3 on FanDuel. Prices I love. I want to get some Trumbo in my lineup today and hope the Orioles keep up what they've been doing all season. Most home runs in the majors, near the top of most offensive categories. They're a team that I always like to have some exposure to. And that's the end of my Cash Game Cornerstones for today. Come on back by later for some Dong Finder picks and for the rundown with a written breakdown of all of our top options for today, including the stacks from Max and the pitching options from Adam. Once again, I am Steve. This is Slurv. I hope you've enjoyed your Cash Game Cornerstones. Good luck tonight.